Parallel French and English text of the Most Holy Trinosophia. The Most Holy Trinosophia, Section 1. It is in the retreat of criminals in the dungeons of the Inquisition that your friend writes these lines, which are to serve for your instruction. At the thought of the inestimable advantages which this document of friendship will procure for you, the horrors for a long and little deserved captivity seem to be mitigated. It gives me pleasure to think that while surrounded by guards and encumbered by chains, a slave may still be able to raise his friend above the mighty, the monarchs who rule this place of exile. My dear Philochetus, you are about to penetrate into the sanctuary of the sublime sciences. My hand is about to raise for you the impenetrable veil which hides from the eyes of common men the tabernacle, the sanctuary wherein the Eternal has lodged the secrets of nature, kept for a few that are privileged, the few elect whom his omnipotence created that they may see, and seeing may soar after him in the vast expanse of his glory, and deflect upon mankind one of the rays that shine round about his golden throne. If your friend's example proves a salutary lesson for you, I shall bless the long years of tribulation which the wicked have made me suffer. Two stumbling blocks equally dangerous will constantly present themselves to you. One of them would outrage the sacred rights of every individual. It is misuse of the power which God will have entrusted to you. The other, which would bring ruin upon you, is indiscretion. Both are born of the same mother. Both owe their existence to pride. Human frailty nourishes them. They are blind. Their mother leads them. With her aid, these two monsters carry their foul breath even into the hearts of the Lord's elect. Woe unto him who misuses the gifts of heaven in order to serve his passions. The almighty hand that made the elements subject to him would break him like a fragile reed. An eternity of torments could hardly expiate his crime. The infernal spirits would smile with contempt at the tears of the one whose menacing voice had so often made them tremble in the bosom of their fiery depths. It is not for you, Philochetus, that I sketch this dreadful picture. The friend of humanity will never become its persecutor. The precipice, my son, which I fear for you is indiscretion, the imperious craving to inspire astonishment and admiration. God leaves to men the task of punishing the imprudent minister who permits the eye of the profane to look into the mysterious sanctuary. O Philochetus, may my sorrows be ever present in your mind. I too have known happiness, was showered with the blessings of heaven, and surrounded by powers such as the human mind cannot conceive, commanding the genii that guide the world. Happy in the happiness that I created, I enjoyed within the bosom of an adored family the felicity which the Eternal affords to his beloved children. One moment destroyed everything. I spoke, and it all vanished like a cloud. O my son, follow not in my steps. Let no vain desire to shine before men bring you too to disaster. Think of me, your friend, writing to you from this dungeon, my body broken by torture. Remember, Philochetus, that the hand which traces these characters bears the marks of the chains which weigh it down. God has punished me, but what have I done to the cruel men that persecute me? What right have they to interrogate the minister of the Eternal? They ask me what are the proofs of my mission. My witnesses are prodigies, and my virtues are my defenders. A clean life, a pure heart. But what I'm saying, have I still the right to complain? I spoke, and the Lord delivered me, deprived of strength and power, to the furies of greedy fanaticism. The arm which once could overthrow an army can today hardly lift the chains that weigh it down. I wonder, I should give thanks to eternal justice. The avenging God has pardoned his repentant child. An aerial spirit has entered through the walls which separate me from the world. He has shown himself to me resplendent with light, and has determined the duration of my captivity. Within 2 years my sufferings will end. My torturers, upon entering my cell, will find it empty, and, soon purified by the 4 elements, pure as the genius of fire, I shall resume the glorious station to which divine goodness has raised me. But how distant as yet is this time, how long 2 years seem to one who spends them in suffering and humiliation. Not content with making me undergo the most horrible agony, my oppressors, to torture me further, have devised still surer, still more revolting means. They have brought infamy on my head, have made my name a thing of disgrace. The children of men recoil in terror when by chance they approach the walls of my prison. They fear lest some deadly vapor escape through the narrow slit that reluctantly admits a ray of light to my cell. That, O Philochatus, is the cruelest of all blows that they could bear down upon me. I know not whether I shall be able to get this document into your hands. I judge the difficulty I shall have in contriving for it a way out of this place of torture by those I have had in order to write it. Deprived of all help, I myself have composed the agents I needed. The flame of my lamp, some coins, and a few chemical substances overlooked by the scrutinizing eyes of my tormentors have yielded the colors which adorn this fruit of a prisoner's leisure. Profit by the instructions of your unhappy friend. They are so clear that danger exists for them to fall into the hands other than yours. Remember only that all of it is to serve you. An obscure line, an omitted character, would prevent your lifting the veil which the hand of the Creator has placed over the Sphinx. Adieu, Philochatus, do not mourn me. The clemency of the Eternal equals his justice. At the first mysterious assembly, you will see your friend again. I salute you in the name of God. Soon I shall give the kiss of peace to my brother. The highly decorated title page of the manuscript is a valuable key to the interpretation of the entire work. The gift describes the emblems thus. This author's symbolism is Egyptianized in the fashion of the day. On the title page of the work we find the bird of Hermes, a tree with golden fruit, and a vase in which the work is achieved, the primitive material under the form of a ball embraced by two wings, and a luminous triangle containing the divine name. In another place he adds, the Hebrew name El is on the right, with another divine name lower down written in Arabic. The letters AB near the latter are indicative of the alphabet and represent the word, the divine word. On the left is a Hebrew inscription taken from the first verses of the book of Genesis, and the earth was without form and void. Tohu and Bohu. I don't know why it's here written Hohu. It should be Tohu and Bohu. And darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God, Ruach Elohim, moved upon the face of the waters. The letters in the golden triangle do not form the sacred name Jehovah, but, when decoded, yield the cryptic words "breathe after this one." That the sole breath of the Kabbalists is to be inferred is evident from their wings behind the hawk of Ra in the upper left corner. The second square from the top at the right is of especial Freemasonic interest. A candidate for initiation into the mystery stands in symbolic posture before an altar, the one shoe off and one shoe on. The Hebrew letters Al, El, in the small circle are one of the 10 Kabbalistic names of God, signifying God the Creator, and is associated with the Sephirah Chesed, or mercy. The letters AB are the mystical signature of the writer who was a father, Abba, or master of the secret wisdom. The letters are also an abbreviation for an alchemical process. The Arabic divine name really consists of Hebrew words written in Arabic characters which read, "The Lord, the Most High, purifies." The Hebrew inscription in the lower left corner, while unquestionably the second verse of the first chapter of Genesis, does not read as in the authorized version. Characters have been changed and the sense altered to read in substance, "And the earth shall be a desolate waste. There shall be lamenting, and hate and consternation shall be upon the face. And the breath of Elohim, because of the presence of the Spirit, shall destroy those that have departed from God." In the opening chapter of his manuscript, Saint Germain ingeniously depicts the relapsed state of the human soul. The dungeon of the Inquisition is the sphere of man's animal consciousness. So you see, it might be true that he was writing that text whilst captured by the evil Catholic Church at Rome in dungeon, but then it actually has another meaning. That dungeon has another occult meaning. So the dungeon of the Inquisition is the sphere of man's animal consciousness. The physical world, dominated by inquisitional impulses, constitutes the soul's torture chamber and house of testing. So those people who are bound only by earth consciousness, who live only sensing the world through physical means, they are imprisoned. To the sage, the material universe is the antechamber where gather those who are awaiting acceptance into the sacred rites. When the Comte speaks of this place of exile and the monarchs who rule over it, he refers to the illusionary universe and the princes of this world. Here is the Prometheus myth, the Titan bound to Caucasus for indiscretion, and Lucifer chained in the bottomless pit for pride. Those who are ruled by only earth consciousness, they are slaves of archons and earthly rulers as well. Everyone is using that person and he doesn't even understand it. Throughout the early pages is traceable the allegory of the prodigal son. First is depicted humanity's heroic state during the golden age before sin and death came into the world. Saint Germain describes himself as showered with the blessings of heaven and surrounded by powers such as the human mind cannot conceive. But that could also mean that when he was initiated and he did not speak about what he knew, he was really high spiritual, but when he disclosed certain secrets, then the crowd made his life horrible and he was punished for disclosing secrets. That could also be the meaning. The Comte then writes that one moment destroyed everything. The mystery of the fall of man has never been revealed to the profane. The great cyclic law, which swept the hosts of fiery sparks into the abysses known only to the elect. In the darkness of chaos, the rebel spirits established their world. They built the cosmos and were locked within each of the material elements which they had willed into being. When the lower earth had been completed, the Great Father desired to draw it back into himself, his prodigal creation. To accomplish this, he caused to issue from his own being his word, the Sotar or Messiah. Descending from the abode of light, this heavenly archon diminished its splendor, and investing its glory in the dark robes of earth, took upon itself the cross of the cycles. To the Gnostics, the physical universe was compounded of the dregs of spirit. It was the abortion of space. Material existence was nature's punishment for the rebellion of the angels. So those angels that rebelled, like for example Lucifer, some people believe that these were us trying to experience the world without connection with the divine, and thus the result being bound by this world in earth consciousness. This was clearly set forth in the initiatory rituals which taught that men were reborn in earthly bodies as punishment for sin. Those who perfected themselves were born no more, but like Buddha at the Great Release, passed on to the nirvana of the wise, a birthless, deathless state. From the dungeons of materiality, the sages released themselves through the practice of their esoteric rites. Perfected in wisdom, these initiates broke through the adamantine wall of the mortal sphere and emerged into the light of God. Perfected in wisdom, and also by doing certain exercises, and the Eastern way is quite well known. The yoga of the West, it's perverted way of doing it, but in the East, in India, there are some genuine yogis who can teach one how to escape the limitations of the body. So yes, it's through right living, but it also can be accomplished quicker. It can be quickened if you not only live a moral life, but you do certain exercises that then the release from the body will be quicker. The alchemical interpretation relates to the elementary spirits locked within the physical forms of the elements. I need to read that again. The alchemical interpretation relates to the elementary spirits locked within the physical forms of the elements. It should be noted that in his procedure through the initiatory trials, Saint Germain identifies himself with the substance from which the philosopher's stone is to be formed. He is the alchemical matter itself passing through 12 cycles of refinement. It thus becomes evident that the alchemists recognized that the Great War consisted of the transmutation of themselves. The earth, the dungeon, is filled with the seed souls of precious metals. Here they are locked awaiting art and wisdom, as gold exists within every grain of sand, but is incapable of manifesting itself unless stimulated by alchemical processes, so the seeds of truth, beauty, and knowledge exist within the dark earth of man's animal organism. The growth and perfection of these precious virtues is stimulated by discipline, and in the fullness of time all base impulses and purposes are transmuted into the gold of soul power. So this is the end of the section 1 interpretation, and in the next video you're going to hear the symbolic story of section 2 as well as its interpretation. Thank you for watching. Take care.